here we go. I know these videos can be a little complicated. I'm telling you, man, I'm here for you. If you want to just pick up the phone and call me, I'll walk you through it. But the next part about the auto declaration certificate I want to talk about is uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. Weird words. Let me tell you what they mean. You wake up in the morning, you're headed out for the day. Nobody thinks today's the day you're going to get into a car accident. You're driving and you're doing everything right. But somebody else does something wrong and they hit you. And let's pretend in this scenario, they hurt you. And you have now gone on to the hospital with a femur fracture, a broken arm. Imagine all the different types of injury. Now imagine that if the person who hit you has no insurance, they are driving their car without insurance. Yes, that's against the law in Michigan. But more importantly, realistically, you're not going to get much when you try to sue somebody who didn't even have assets to buy some basic insurance coverage. We have an expression, you can't get blood from a stone. And the reality is, you probably aren't going to get much money or other kind of compensation from the uninsured driver. But if you own a car with insurance, or you live with a relative who owns a car with insurance, you might have what's called uninsured motorist coverage. This is coverage you buy to protect yourself if you've been injured in a car accident and the other driver had no insurance. What really kills me is when insurance companies sell my clients small uninsured motorist policies. This is really relatively inexpensive coverage. You don't want to buy either no coverage or a low policy of insurance when you're buying your uninsured motorist coverage. You have to think about how much insurance money do I need to compensate me for my pain and my suffering. Look, there's no eye for an eye. There's no reversing time. In Michigan, in America, all we have in the civil justice system is money to compensate somebody for their harms and losses. So you have to look at your uninsured motorist coverage and make sure you're buying enough coverage to protect yourself or the family members who live in your household for the injuries that they may suffer at the hands of an uninsured driver. Now, underinsured motorist coverage is very similar. This is when the driver who hit you does have insurance. But what if they bought a very low policy of insurance? Not enough money to compensate you for your losses. In that instance, you go after the other driver's insurance and you get the money that they bought. And then you go after your own insurance company for the difference between what the underinsured driver bought and the value of your insurance. Let's keep that simple. What if the driver who caused the accident had $50,000 in coverage and they shattered your hip or your femur? That is not going to be enough money to compensate you for your pain and your suffering. But if you bought $250,000 of uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage, you get the $50,000 from the at-fault driver, and now you go after your own insurance company for the difference between what they had and what you bought. For a very low premium, that could be an additional $200,000. Look, I'm never going to say that money is going to justify your pain and your suffering. There's no reversing time. But trust me when I say, if you've been in that accident, you're going to really regret it if you didn't buy enough underinsured motorist coverage to compensate you for your pain and your suffering and your other economic losses. I know this is complicated stuff, but keep sticking with my videos and I'm going to keep going over different aspects of your declaration certificate.